in business. If you ain't winning, you ain't got no damn business in here. Woo! One love, baby. Yeah!
Outside this old world just keeps on.
Randy Travis, he's the best.
Still the real things are
What a
found.
voice.
Hello.
Hi.
It's when you found the real thing.
Think he's as cute in person?
Found it.
Uh-huh. What I wouldn't give to meet a guy like him. Hey, Julie, want to ring up this Coca-Cola Classic?
Thank you. Can't beat the real thing.
What's going on, y'all? It is Cop Pizzle, and we are the we are in the night before the Giants and Vikings playoff game, and just wanted to come on here and share some words before we all lay our heads down. Take some questions if you guys want to do a little chatting. Man, how awesome was last night? Last night was man, I just don't know how it gets any better than that. It was being able to talk. First of all, Chuck Knox, he put out a phenomenal video. His hype video was great. But you know, it was an absolute just great conversation. I mean, I really, really enjoyed the conversation that I got to have with Chuck last night, a true Giants fan. And honestly, through all the days or years going by, you know, this YouTube thing, being able to meet guys like Chuck and just to talk to them, whether it be on cam, you know, live or off air, it's just it's to me one of the great things about YouTube. It really is. And so to meet like-minded people and to meet people that have that same passion and that same love for the Giants, it just doesn't beat that. And so, I really, you know, it was really, it was really a lot of fun. And so Chuck really enjoyed it too. And so we'll see, we'll see how what the future holds. But what's going on, y'all? Just want to say hello to everybody. What's up, D man? What's up, Ralph? Appreciate you, buddy, Raphael. If you guys did not know, we are going to live stream the game tomorrow. So that will be a lot of, you know, that's going to be interesting. I haven't streamed obviously a playoff game since 2016, which I actually did stream that game. I streamed the Packer game, and the quality of my stream was not very good. And it was at a house my wife and I were living in at the time before we bought this house. And so this will be the first playoff game that I've been able to live stream in the man cave. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be an exciting time, and I just hope the Giants, you know, put up a really good fight. And you know, like I was thinking today, excuse me, I was thinking today, you know, obviously I would be very disappointed if the Giants lost, but the biggest thing is I just don't want them to get screwed tomorrow. You know, if the Vikings are just a better team, then just beat us, you know, just do whatever you got to do, but I just don't want them to get screwed in any way, you know, bad call, whatever. That's the biggest thing I want. Afghan. I remember you getting ready to stream that game, and you went out and bought. I did. I got some equipment. I did. I actually still use that equipment for a few years later, and yeah, I don't remember what camera I used, but I do remember it was some type of web camera. I just don't remember. Yeah, playoff slate unlimited. Yeah, I want to see playoff slating. You know, as a content creator, you always want to, you know, you always want to look good. And you know, when you got these little narratives that you put out there and whatnot. And I there's one that I want to really talk about tonight. First of all, if Slayton goes out there and has a big game, scores 2 touchdowns, then I might end up breaking the internet because I'll be so excited for him. You know, just because I've always said that, you know, what Darius Slayton did, a selfish act, an unselfish act to drop his contract, to take a pay cut, after being arguably the best receiver that we've had on this team since 2019, to do that and to, you know, be knocked down the depth chart and then to basically be a savior for, you know, as far as the receivers go. I mean, that's what a true Giant is, you know, in my opinion. And I think as a Giants fan, you know, you obviously want to root for the team first, but I think there's these little stories that how could you not root for a guy like that, you know? Um, that's the way I look at it. So I'm rooting my ass off for Darius Slayton just because I think he deserves it. Um, that's just how I feel about it. So um absolutely. That's the thing. We did make it. We made it to the playoffs, and no one said we'd be able to make it. And I just can't. I can't wait to see how the game goes tomorrow, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see it. D man, you're gonna do a cartwheel. Let's see, KJ. The night before the biggest game in years, some fans are hoping we win, but Danny doesn't see a couple open guys, so they can be right. Oh, well, KJ, I'm glad you brought that up because there was a video today. It was either today or yesterday. There was a video that dropped about from a big content creator. I can't remember what his name is. I've got him on tap because I'm going to light him up on Twitter tomorrow if the Giants end up winning this game because I don't want to you know, curse the Giants or bring any bad karma, but you know, it's so easy. Content creators today, it's so easy for them to take an all 22 and then spin it as, oh, look, Danny's missing this wide open receiver. And it bothers me so much for them to do that because number one, the game of football and including the game of the National Football League is a hard fucking game to play. It's extremely difficult to play at that level. And I understand that quarterbacks deserve criticism, yada, yada, yada. I get all that. But to sit at your mother's house, break down all 22 film with a little bit of light music going on, and you've got some LED lighting in the background, and you've got all the check marks that streamers ask you to, you know, you're supposed to put out there. And you sit there and you say these things as if you're so smart. It's just bullshit. And then to see other giant content creators piggyback and say, yeah, I've been saying this all year. It's like, man, you're full of shit, man. I don't, if you want to die on that hill that Daniel Jones isn't any good, have at it. But I got news for you. People like Pizzle, we're going to be your pallbearer tomorrow night, bottom line. So that's going to be the one. If you watch my stream tomorrow during the game, that's going to be one of the biggest things is rooting my ass off for Danny because I think he deserves the support. What's up, Cal? Yep. Hey, we ready? You damn right we ready. Appreciate it, Dead Air. Got my little Giants man cave going on. I think every man deserves a man cave, man. I just feel, you know what I'm saying? I'll admit I was a Kenny Golladay fan, but Slayton fought and took that job. Cop, you deserve your flowers. Thanks, D man. I appreciate it. Look, I just want to root on guys that try hard. That's the biggest thing. It ain't about being right. I just see a guy that's busting his ass, doing all the right things. He says, hey, I'll take a pay cut, no problem. I think that was one of the reasons why Blake Martinez eventually got cut because they wanted him to take a pay cut and he wasn't willing to do it. Goes out to the Raiders, doesn't even last the whole season. Like there was no heart there, in my opinion. I shouldn't say that because I don't know what his body was like, you know, what kind of shape his body was in, but it's like, come on, man. Like, how's the dude Darius wanted to be here took a pay cut. Yeah, he's dropped a couple passes here and there, but you ain't gonna support that dude. Like, he wants to be here. He wants to see the Giants do well. I mean, that's shit. No house money. Let's make a run at these guys. I'm with you, Dead Air. I'm all about it. LT, we win in tomorrow. Giants 28, Vikings 14. Okay. I have to let me think about what a score. I have to think about that for a minute. Hey, Bisley, how you doing? Let's hope the Vikings play like these Jags tomorrow against the Big Blue defense. Yeah, Jags not good tonight. Lawrence. And here's the thing. Like, I know everybody wants to jump on Trevor Lawrence, but like, this is his first playoff game, right? And this is what I talked about all week leading up to this, is the importance of getting playoff experience for Danny, and how will Daniel handle playoff pressure? He may thrive in it. I think Eli thrived in it, right? He may fold in it. And tonight, or at least this game up until this point, Trevor Lawrence has folded in it. And that's just like, probably been playing football his whole life, but this is the biggest game of his life. And it's just a different level of intensity. Like, it really is. Lawrence killing the Jags tonight. Yep. Too many picks. Danny Dimes, future All-Pro, going to show off and show out tomorrow. Now, baby doll whistle. What's up, William? What's up, buddy? What's up, Omega? Little Giants family. They're back there sleeping away. Let's see here. Joshua, hey, Pizzle, where would you rather be right now? Definitely not a Charger Jags game. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a rough one in Jacksonville. It's a rough one. Jay-Lay, my buddy Jay-Lay, Kayvon, Aziz, Dex, Sexy Dexy are going to run a train on Kirk Cousins tomorrow. Hey, we're playing the Vikings at a really good time, man. Their offensive line's beat up. I really think Kayvon and Aziz on the field together is a really nice duo. I think when one of them is missing, the other one suffers a little bit, but when they're both on the field, they're monsters. And Dexter Lawrence, I mean, my goodness, I hate to say this, I really do, because I don't want to. I know it's such a big debate, but it's hard for me not to give credit for Dave Gettleman, but it's pretty clear and obvious to me that they won the OBJ trade, because if you just look at what Dexter Lawrence has done, we potentially have got the best D tackle in the fucking game, and OBJ is on airplanes arguing with old men. Like, come on, like, how do you not say the Giants didn't win that trade with the way Dexter Lawrence is playing? So, it is what it is. Hey, son, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Blake Martinez did take a pay cut. I thought, no, he didn't want to take one, and then they cut him. That was my understanding. See, is anyone that concerned about getting playoff jitters? What do you mean? Are you talking about as fans, or are you talking about as players? See, Afghan, I've had issues with Galladay less than halfway through last season. Never wanted to sign him again. Yeah, Galladay's been an anomaly. I mean, I was suspect of it, but I was really on board only because of the success I saw Eli have with Plaxico, and I wanted to recreate that if at all possible, So, Nick the Kick, not to be confused with Nick the Wick. We win the turnover battle, we should win. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Jeremy, the Giants will win 24-17. I'm thinking 27-21. I'm thinking 27-21. DJ at least called Eli. I did hear about that. I think that's really smart of Daniel to talk to Eli and get some of those resources. Get an idea of what he's getting ready to face. That's Eli Manning is and will always be the gift that keeps on giving to the Giants. The way that fans treated him the last few years, we don't deserve Eli. but he's still here. He's still helping this organization. He truly is the absolute definition of a franchise quarterback and one of my favorite players of all time. Do you think we retain Galladay and bring in a number one receiver to go along with him or no? But I don't see how in the world Kenny Galladay's on this team next year, the way things have went. But I definitely think they're gonna draft. I don't think with all that we have to do with Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, eventually sign Dexter Lawrence. You got to think about signing in the future Xavier McKinney. All these our money, although we're going to have a lot of cash, it's going to get filled up pretty fast. I don't see the possibility of them being able to trade for a veteran receiver and bring somebody in. I think I could see us bringing in someone on a decent little deal, low end deal that's a veteran, and then drafting a couple of receivers, if not just one. So, I mean, you got to think we're going to get Wan'Dale back. Hopefully he doesn't have a Sterling Shepard type year. Maybe you bring back Sterling Shepard. I think my boy Darius Slayton's going to get a contract somewhere else. But, we'll see what happens there. Omega Giants will win 28-13. I would love that. Is DJ better than Lamar? I'm assuming you mean Lamar Jackson, Tony. And man, I said this at some point to somebody. I don't remember, but Daniel and Lamar Jackson's stats are actually eerily similar. They really are. I know Lamar had an MVP-like year, but when you look at their stats, it's so funny to me because Lamar gets a lot of praise and a lot of love, but I think DJ's right there with him, man, in my opinion. And I would rather have Daniel because I think he's a better thrower. I know Lamar does a lot of, great things athletically when he's running, but I'd rather have Daniel, God's honest truth. I mean, there's only a couple of quarterbacks in the league that I would rather have over Danny. But there's really not a lot of quarterbacks. Wilson, yo, Pizzle, where you from? I'm from Tennessee. I'm pretty much in Kentucky. I'm kind of really right there on that borderline. So, yeah, that's where the accent comes from. Can we just get a solid pass rush, keep Jefferson in front of the sticks? Would hope so, Jamar. Although I really believe that, when we played the Vikings first time around, we didn't have Xavier McKinney and we did not have Adoree Jackson. Having those two will be a big boost for the Giants. And Justin Jefferson will not have as big a game, I feel. The other thing, I watched the All-22 of our first game. What I noticed about the first matchup that the Giants had with the Vikings was every time they blitzed, they had their secondary guys play zone coverage. And I believe that Martindale had his defense secondary play zone coverage because it was more so to do with who he had back there covering. Zone kind of helps with the inabilities that you have of actually covering somebody. So you just cover an area per se. And so this time around with McKinney and Adoree back, I believe when Martindale brings the blitz, I believe he'll be in man coverage, which I think will ultimately help. The Vikings will, Hockenson is going to be a problem for us because we've had a hard time covering tight ends all year long anyways, but Xavier McKinney will help. And it's really because I think our linebackers are just not great at covering anybody. And even when we have Landon Collins in there at moments, although he has really surprised me, he's not great at covering anybody. So he did have that great interception against the Colts game, but I think this is a different scenario. So I'm expecting us to play a lot of man tomorrow, and we'll see how that works, but they're going to bring a lot of pressure on Kurt. I really do believe that. Joshua at least equal to Lamar, I think. Let's see. Afghan, I said we won the OBJ trade when we made it. Said it were since too. I guess you were saying said it since then too. Let's see here. Which I agree, man. I really do believe. He's saying if the Giants win, I'm going to lose my mind. Well, get ready to. Get ready to. Galladay's got the tools. It's between the ears. Yeah. I do believe that happens to athletes. I think athletes, at any level, at any sport, are going to lose confidence. He reminds me of, you guys remember Crush Davis for the Orioles? And he just, he could just absolutely hit the ball 450 feet, but then he'd have a batting average of like 190 or something, just even more. I mean, just 200 strikeouts. It's just like that. It's like you got the tools, but like you just you never produce. Almost like a Joey Gallo situation. Just I don't think this. I don't think this market. I think Kenny Galladay is a guy that needs to be in a smaller market organization, and not in a situation where it's a big. I just don't think he's a big market kind of receiver. Truth be told, I'm a Commanders fan. Do you think we run it back with Wentz? Is he washed? I don't know how you run it back with Wentz. The Commanders desperately need to draft a quarterback that's worth a damn. They desperately need to do that. And Tony, you saying Vikings 35-21? I don't see how listen, with the injury issues that the Vikings have on the offensive line, I don't see a way in hell they score 35 points, because we're gonna pressure Kurt. Now, I'm not saying that it's an automatic win for the Giants, but there's no way in hell, and come back and correct me if I'm wrong, there's no way in hell the Vikings are putting up 35 points against us tomorrow. No way in hell. Eli, the greatest offensive player we ever had. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If the Giants don't get the best D-line in the playoffs overall, then call me a fool. But I believe that. I think I think they got a really, surprisingly, Joshua, I think they got a really good. Now, the Bosa brothers, they've played great today. It's been a good day for the Bosa family. So, those guys are next level. I'm trying to think who else. The Giants have every chance to have a great pass rush in this playoffs. They really do. The biggest debate, in my opinion, that don't get talked about a lot is Eli versus Jeter. Who's the better captain in New York? That's a good question, D-Man. Man, that's a great debate. I would probably guess. I said this the other day on the Giants Outsiders podcast that Jeter was overrated, and then I got a bunch of heat for it. But theoretically, he wasn't taking steroids, so it's like I shouldn't say that. The other guys were, and so I got to give Jeter some props on that. They both were great for their organizations. They really were. Jeter was a great. He was ultimately a great player and a great captain. He really was. Giants hopefully watch the film on the Packers-Vikings game and take notes on how they bracketed Jefferson and held him to one catch. With X and Dory back, they should be able to. Yeah, that DB for the Packers too played lights out. He was really up for that challenge. And so hopefully Adory's, close to 100%. Xavier obviously is going to still be out there pretty much one-handed. But Xavier's been a tackling machine, and he's just all over the place. And so I think it's just going to be big to have him out there. Playoff Danny will tear up the Vikings secondary. I hope so. P.S. DJ is like Eli, and Judge is the next Jeter, not to compare. Yeah, Aaron Judge, the next captain. First playoff game without Eli. It's going to be a special. I didn't even think about that, Josh, but you're right. It's going to be the first playoff game since the 2000s, early 2000s, without Eli. Man, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Totally right. Let's see here. Pizzle, you're sharp. You're sharp when it comes to betting. Hypothetically, if you weren't a fan of either team, who would you put money on when it comes to win? I'm assuming you're talking about the Giants and Vikings game. 100% the Giants. No fan of take the and I think the biggest thing is I actually had one bet today on the football games. I had Jaguars and Chargers over 23 points first half. So luckily Lawrence was actually helping me because he was giving the Chargers great field position. But I think the Giants getting 3 points is so when they first played, I believe the Vikings were 6-point favorites against the Giants the first go around, and I believe that the Giants only being 3-point underdogs tomorrow is a sign that because theoretically home teams, the numbers when they put that in there, they give the home team 3 points. So what they're saying with the line set the way it is, they're telling me and telling everybody that if this game was being played on a neutral field, the Vikings and Giants would technically be a pick 'em. And so because Vikings are at home, they're laying the 3 points. So in my opinion, the fact that they think this game would be a pick 'em on a neutral field tells me that the Giants are truly ultimately the pick for tomorrow. That's what gives me a lot of confidence about, when I have confidence in the Giants, it's basically because from a gambling perspective, that's what I believe. And so, ultimately the Giants have an advantage in the trenches. They really do. I mean, Minnesota does they do not have a very good run red zone defense. They don't have any scary pass rushers to kill our offensive line. They've got offensive line issues, and we've got our defensive line has really came together. We've got potentially the best D tackle in the league. Kayvon was a monster in the month of December. Azeez is, people forget of how many sacks he had a year ago, and when he's been out there, he's been a monster. I mean, in my opinion, the Giants should win this game. I mean, they really should. And then on top of it, Kirk Cousins has not been good in these types of situations when it's a big game on the line, and it's almost like a primetime game. My biggest concern is what will playoff Danny do? That's what I want to know. Because, ultimately when you think back of the last playoff games, even in 2016 when the Giants lost to the Packers, playoff Eli showed up. Playoff Eli was killing it. And so it's just ultimately his receivers didn't show up, and then, that we ultimately failed to win that game. Look like the Jags are making a little comeback. But honestly, man, I truly believe, if Danny comes out and plays well and we don't have any crazy significant injury, we'll be in really good shape. I really believe that. Let's see here. Gonna draft Levis and win the division. I don't know about that, Tony. I don't know. Tennessee and New Mexico, two most beautiful states. I've never been to New Mexico. Tennessee's it's a very beautiful state. If New Mexico is anything like Arizona, then I wouldn't like it, because I've been over Arizona and I didn't like that state. Not enough green for old Pizzle. Adore, a huge part of our defense. Absolutely. He's been great this year. See here. Hearing that Alan Czar leading the Packers. We'll see Joshua. I'm not ready to think about next year just yet. There's a word the Eagles got caught. Yeah, I don't know what something about the kicking the field goals or something. It wouldn't surprise me what the fucking Eagles do. I think honestly, sincerely, this has nothing to do with my hate for the Eagles. I think their coach is a fucking scumbag. Just the way he carries himself on the sidelines. So it wouldn't surprise me that they cheat. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Georgia in college football is cheating. It just the way. I mean, that's just Just some teams I think are cheating. That's just how it is. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles are. See y'all beating the Vikings in a close one. Okay, that'd be cool. At least you guys avoided drafting Willis. Yeah, we had some members of our Big Blue Giants family here on YouTube that wanted to draft Willis, and that was really fucking bad. I don't know how you come back from YouTube from that. Can Wink turn O'Shane into a playmaker? I don't know. I think they're going to eventually move on from O'Shane, but we'll see. We got to hope that if there's one, I don't think Kafka's going anywhere, but Martindale kind of scares me of leaving the Giants for a coaching spot. But I definitely could see, maybe his age is a little too, maybe he's too old, but I'm a little bit worried about him going to a place like Arizona. That's what I'm really worried for. See, I'm a huge believer in DJ. I have a pick with him at Duke and hope he's the future of the Giants. Nick the Kick. 31-28. Okay. With everybody back now, watch how they play as I'm with you, Frederick. See that safety Pinnock, he got off the Jets practice squad. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, the Joe Shane has done a great job pulling guys off of practice squads. Julian Love is back as well. Yep, Julian Love. He's played great. He's played awesome. Really like the way he's played. Giants will win. Yeah, think so. Rank the NFC's quarterbacks. I really thought Dak was the best before the season, but you got to give it up to Hurts. Hurts has played really well, so you got to give him a lot of credit and put him at the top. I think Daniel's right there at 2. I think Dak is down to 3 for me, and whoever the hell is playing quarterback for Washington. Hype for tomorrow, but I'm especially pumped for Philly next weekend. Payback's a beach. Giant D. Yeah, I want Philly bad. And I was glad 49ers won because I really want to play Philly next. And so we'll see if we can get through the Vikings and play Philly. I'm actually trying to set up something with somebody from YouTube to go to Philly. I don't want to necessarily go to the game by myself. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's just I want to go to the game with somebody. And so I'm trying to set that up. But I don't want to jinx myself just yet. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Tony Vikings have weapons. They do, but they just don't have an offensive line. Let's see. Samuel believes Dallas line better. Okay. One and down Bird Boy. Let's see here. What else we got? Jamar, the Vikings left a bad taste in our mouth. The hunger this team has, something this organization's been missing. Absolutely, Jamar. You hit it right on the head, man. Right on the head. I mean, it's crazy what a coaching staff can honestly do. I mean, it's just nuts to me how they've been able to flip this team so fast. And it really makes me it's crazy to think that a year ago today, if you just today, I was so bummed out and felt like that the Giants were at a rock bottom level as far as an organization. And to see where they are now and realize there's only now 6 teams left on the NFC side and that they're a part of one of the 6 teams, it's amazing, man. I love it. Love it. D-Man, hit the like. Yeah, hit the like button. Hit the damn like button. Let's see. Dead air. New York is a baseball town. They would say Jeter up here, and I'm a Mets fan. Yeah, I know you guys love it. Love that baseball up there. I challenge you, the 60-minute man, to a debate, 101 live on Undisputed. That would be great, Skip. You might need a new co-host anyways once Shannon leaves. So sign me up. I think we would have some great Giants and Cowboys debates. I think we'd have some great debates. Let's see here. You want me to throw up a link? I'll throw up a link. Yeah, sure. Anybody wants to come on? I'll throw up a link. I'll throw it up. There you go. Let's see. Fake news. Well, see, I honestly don't know. Eagle has landed. Story's fake. I just kind of heard about it, but I never dove into it. To me, I don't. I just don't. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Even if it was true that the Eagles were cheating in some capacity, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing to do. So, you know. See, I watched the Bosa brothers today. Yeah, they're pretty good. Would love to see our D-line versus them. Maybe the NFC Championship game. Yeah, we'll see. I personally want it to be Eagles next and then Cowboys next. I've got to do it. That's what I want. Bad Dog did flip on. Bad Dog will tell you that I'm supposed to worry about myself and I shouldn't be worried about him, but it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate to see how Bad Dog runs his channel now. It really is unfortunate because I get it. You got to do what's best for yourself, not worry about things that you can't control, but it's just really unfortunate to see because I viewed him the same way I viewed Chuck Knox at one time, but I can't anymore. Let's see here. Try to get this through. Man, let's see. I listen to the Giants or the Outsiders podcast every Friday. You and Fist really are hauling Nash. P.S. I want to be the third man because I'm a huge Hogan fan. I got to be honest. Yeah, I mean, me and Fisk are trying to work out some things. There's no guarantee about next year, so we'll see. We'll see how things transpire the next couple weeks, and then Fisk and I have to get together and talk about some things. But if we do work something out, I think there might be a third man. Honestly, next year, truth be told. It's my buddy. Yeah, be huge giant. Yeah, you're damn right. And if not, Dylan, then I'm gonna need you to bring me some liquor, if you don't mind. Let's see here. See, I think Joshua. I think you're talking about Daniel here. It's like, what else do you want from him? Playoff win, most likely. Going to get that tomorrow. What else? I don't know, Josh. I don't know what else. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that could really use a quarterback of Daniel Jones's talent and caliber. I'm gonna bring Big Blue in the Bronx here up in just 1 second. Really hope having Xavier McKinney and Dory Jackson is a big difference. Playmakers really want to pressure Cousins a lot too. Leo, hope his neck is good. Aziz, Kayvon, and Dex need to be busy too. Absolutely, that's really important. What's up, Evan? I think Adoree is 100% in for playing. He's not on any reports. Do I have any beef with Tim on? Well, unfortunately for Tim's sake, Tim thought Malik Willis was going to be really good. And so it's really unfortunate. Look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to the quarterback position and when you see a guy try as hard as Danny, puts his neck on the line and he gets a broken neck against the Eagles and he still goes out there and wins, and then you as a fan can't support that, or you can't root this guy on and criticize, and then you criticize him in the off season, and I just can't. I have a hard time supporting you. I can't go back and forth. If you don't think Danny's good, then stay on the narrative that he's not any good and just keep reminding people that you were wrong about it. And don't give me that opinion. I can change my opinion don't give me that, because if I go make a bet right now on the Giants and they're down by 28 points in the fourth quarter, I can't call a sports book and say, hey, I changed my opinion. I want to bet on the Vikings now. Like it don't work that way. I don't know what happened where we got into a society where we can just all of a sudden be flippy floppy, but you can't just start dating a woman and then tell her, marry her, and then like a week after you marry her, say, I think I want to change my opinion now. That's not how that works. So, anyways, it's just really it just bothers me. So I'm gonna bring on Big Blue in the Bronx, see what his ass wants.
What up, Pizzle?
What's up, Big Blue? What's up, Slasher? What's going on? What do you got to say?
Well, I mean, I just thought I come by, say hello, talk about the game. I was just on Tana's channel. I saw you streaming. I'm like, you know what? Pizzle probably hasn't invited people on in a while. So I said, you know what? This would be the perfect
You'll
opportunity.
just invite yourself on.
Yeah. Well, I say, hey, you should throw a link in. Shout outs to Eric. It's Alex, by the way. I know, obviously. He knows me from a different channel, so he gets me and my brother mixed up, of course. But that's okay.
Well, you guys are twins.
Well, yeah. But I mean, also then again, one's a Giants fan, one's a Jets fan. But I think there's some. I said this to Tane. I'll say it to you in your chat. I think there's some pressure on the Giants fan base tomorrow in terms of image from other NFL fan bases and analysts. Not that I care, but you take a look at the game we had earlier today, San Francisco. That was a complete blowout. This game is edging away. There was a comeback, but at this point, I mean, Justin Herbert's running all over the place. Let's see. You have the Miami game tomorrow. They're starting Skylar Thompson. You have the Cincinnati game, which I think is the night game, and they're facing Anthony Brown or Tyler Huntley. I don't remember which. Obviously, Monday is going to be a good game, but a lot of people are going to be tuning into our game because it looks most competent. Your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I think that it was the most compelling game of the weekend, to be quite honest with you. Because the Seahawks and 49ers game eventually, it took a little while, but eventually went down the way I think a lot of people thought it was going to go down. 49ers in a blowout. And tonight, outside the Giants and Vikings game, was supposed to be a close game as well. But the Chargers, man, they looked really, really good. But here's the thing, and this is why people think sports are rigged and scripted, because the narrative all week long has been, oh, well, the coach Staley's an idiot for playing hard the last week of the season, right? Week 18. And Mike Williams got hurt, and that wasn't very smart, and that was stupid. It's like, do they think that Charger players don't listen to that? You're talking about a guy who's a professional. You're talking about there's 52 other men on the roster, and you're pretending like one guy is the whole team. It's not, and he doesn't even play quarterback. So it's crazy that they've stayed in that mindset of playing hard. Of course, the Jaguars had to play hard last week against the Titans, but in my opinion, I think the Titans kind of beat up the Jaguars a little bit. The way their physicality, the way they played, and they've just looked stagnant all night long, and they're finally looking like they're getting their legs underneath them. But I think the Titans did some damage to the Colts last week. And I don't know. I just the media is always overblows things to the point that it doesn't make sense when things happen. So we'll see. I mean, but as far as the Vikings and Giants game, I think it's going to be a great game. I don't expect the Buffalo and Miami game to be very good.
I don't either.
Which I think Miami's a great story. I love their coach. But unfortunately, that's a bad spot for them. And which means that I don't think it's going to be a good game before our game. And then the Ravens and Bengals game, maybe it could be close, but I think the Bengals will do the same thing, kind of like the 49ers did. And the Cowboys and Bucks game is fun. That is a fun game. Because you got Brady, you got the Cowboys. It's a fun game for it. It is what it's meant to be, the Monday night game.
Now, obviously, one game already happened. It's determined what our position would be if we were to win against the Vikings tomorrow. Now, obviously, take yourself back a day. And I know, obviously, you have that dog mentality. But which scenario would you rather be in? Play the Eagles or play the winner of Tampa Bay and Dallas?
Well, I actually think the Cowboys are going to win that game. And
so do I.
Which if that's the case, I'm actually theoretically, and look, I'm not scared of any team, but I'm more afraid of Dallas than I am Philly. Because we have had no luck against Cowboys. in the last 5 years. None. We always get hurt. Our guys always get hurt. Daniel gets concussed. Sterling Shepard tears an ACL. It always happens. Like we never have had any luck. Dak has whooped our ass since the day he showed up. That's the facts. Philly, we've at least had some luck against. 2 years ago we should have swept their ass. It's taken miracle field goals to beat us at times. Last week we had third stringers out there that we almost beat them with. We've had luck against Philly. Plus, Philly is, in my opinion, because of Hurts situation, is a little rusty. And if there was ever a time to play Philly, now's the time to play them. Dallas, on the other hand, I think that they're somewhat of a matchup problem for us, and things need to change before we play them. In order for me to feel a little bit better about things. But if you get to an NFC Championship game with them, that's almost like a game 7, right? Where it's like you just need to find a way to win one. We play them 10 times. We might lose 9, but if we could just get that one, that would be big. So, in my opinion, I would rather play the Eagles than the Cowboys. If you're talking about just easier standpoint, that's honest to goodness truth.
Yeah,
and I mean the Bucks. I mean, like, I just don't see them beating the Cowboys.
I would be very happy if they did, but
I mean, it'd be cool and all, but it's like I just don't see it happening. I mean, Brady, they've got offensive line issues. Brady can't go anywhere. It's set up for the Cowboys to have a big night. Tuesday morning on ESPN, they'll be circle jerking the Cowboys left and right. You'll hear Jerry Jones quotes. Dak will be back in the good graces of everybody. Micah Parsons,
he's on good terms with. He won't be, but
he'll be saying whatever. Micah Parsons, the next Lawrence Taylor. They'll be saying everything Tuesday morning about how great the Cowboys are. Either that or Brady's just simply the GOAT and he just won't go away. But I just feel like the Cowboys are going to – I really believe that we win and the Cowboys win, and that's your Final Four in the NFC side.
Yeah, them, the Eagles, us, and the 49ers. That'd be a –
honestly, Cowboys and 49ers, to me, if that ends up being the matchup, that is a very, very intriguing matchup. Because, in my opinion, if you just watch today's game, Purdy was on the edge of, like, just okay, and then eventually the team took over. But
yeah,
Seattle didn't have enough horses to run that race. The Cowboys do defensively, and they're not great defense. Don't get me wrong; they're not this spectacular defensive unit, but they've got some pieces, and they've also got some pieces on the offensive side. 49ers defense is really nice, but if Purdy goes out, they're good. The Cowboys are good enough that Purdy could fuck up. And all of a sudden now, Cowboys are winning that game decently. So, to me, that's a very intriguing game. A very, I just don't see. I don't know. I really envision Giants Cowboys NFC Championship game. That's what I got.
Wow. All right.
I really believe that, man.
I hope so. I mean, obviously we got to get past tomorrow, but hey, listen, if we could win a playoff game, I mean, it'd be the first time since the Super Bowl that we would. And I mean, the last time the Giants were in the playoffs, I was in friggin' junior high school. But what do you think? Because I've had people come to my attention and predict like scores for tomorrow and say 26-20 Giants overtime. What do you think of the new overtime rules?
I think they're okay. Just okay.
All right.
I mean, it's just okay. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't think it's fair that the game ends in a coin flip, basically. But I mean, at the same time, I think that's the situation that happened with Josh Allen, them getting knocked out the way that I think it's just because that was just two really explosive offenses.
Right.
And the defenses were so gassed at the end of the game, it really did come down to coin flip. But so, like, if Vikings and Giants, for example, we don't have that same kind of firepower, and I don't think they do either. So I don't think it would be a situation where it would come down to a coin flip.
Yeah, they're not elite.
They're not elite. Yeah, that's a different kind of. I think that was just a terrible, like, thing. That was just a bad setup which they put in this rule, which I'm okay with it. Like, it's I don't think it's going to make the games any more better than what they are. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to improve anything.
I mean, I guess it was inevitable because the first time that everyone brought this up was 2018. I think it was the AFC Championship with the oh my, I can't even talk today. Patriots and the Chiefs. Okay, so that was like, and then they started calling for it. Nothing happened, and then obviously this past year with the Bills and the Chiefs. But I think it was just, I mean, it was exciting. Obviously everyone wanted the Bills to successfully lose because we wanted Dable, but there's that. Do you think it's going to be more usage of the ground and pound tomorrow?
I think Daniel will run a lot.
Okay.
I think Daniel's going to run a lot.
What about Saquon?
I think Saquon's going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. I think there's going to be a lot of RPO action tomorrow. A lot. You know what I'm worried about Danny is that's another thing that I'm worried about him is he has had at times he has taken on defenders and not went down.
Mm-hmm.
And I need my man. I want him to be juiced up, but I need my man to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need him to I don't need him to get concussed, break his neck, get hurt.
Fumble.
Fumble. I don't need any of that. I just need him to pick up. I think he's going to run a lot. I think I don't think Saquon's going to have this 25, 30 carry game. I think what they'll do is they'll do swing out passes to him, throw stuff to him in the flat, come out of the backfield. I think that's what you'll see a lot of. I really do. I think they're going to try to extend the field and use Saquon in that role. Then that's not to say he won't get handoffs. He will, obviously, but I think that's how they'll try to use Saquon.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see, what was the thing I was going to get to? What do you now? Obviously, I know you're not for off-season talk. What do you think of the safety situation? I know a lot of people have been debating about it between Love and McKinney.
What about it?
Well, because a lot of people think that we can't keep both. One's a free agent.
Well, I mean, based on the all 22 stuff that I watched most of the year, Xavier McKinney I think Xavier McKinney was our best player on defense.
Okay.
And I know Dexter Lawrence had a really good year, but I think Xavier McKinney is a number one, a tackling machine. And he's always around the ball. Just watch the game tomorrow. He'll be around the ball all game long. Obviously you got to have a pass rush, and the Giants are going to obviously have to pay guys. But to me, Xavier McKinney is one of the most important pieces. That's why, like, when he got hurt with the hand thing, it was a big deal. Like, it was a really big deal. Like, and you noticed, if you saw, our defense was not good. And I think that's the reason why we went on a month without winning, because Xavier McKinney wasn't out there. He's a really big importance to our defense.
Yeah, I mean,
and Julian Love, look, I like Julian Love. Like, I think he stepped up, but I mean, ideally I'd like to have them both back, but Xavier McKinney is the guy that we cannot lose.
Right. No, I agree. And I know a lot of people have, downed on him, and I was pissed with the whole ATV incident because, it did cost us a couple of games on defense and just overall. But I think McKinney has more talent, and a lot of people are, I guess, seeing I would say, progress of Julian Love in this system.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're used to the McKinney of, okay, he's going to get like 5 interceptions like he did last year. That's not going to be this system. Like, we have like the least amount of interceptions in the league. So I think a lot of people are stocked down on McKinney because of that and the ATV incident. But I still am of the belief that he has more talent. And you noticed, even though obviously we're playing Fabian Moreau and Justin Jefferson, that last touchdown that Jefferson had, he was in double coverage, and the safety was Jason Pinnock, who's decent, but he shouldn't be out there 100% of the time. He takes the right angle. That might be a pick.
Yeah, I mean, and don't forget, what was the play? Who was the one that scored the touchdown when Love took that terrible, like that? He should have knocked down that pass, or he went for the interception.
Hawkinson?
Who was that against?
Was it TJ Hawkinson?
No. What game was that? That
was the Eagles.
It was the Eagles game, wasn't it?
The Eagles
Yeah,
game.
that's
Well,
when it was the first matchup, and then like he took
yeah.
this. It's like, why was he going for the interception? And he should just knock it
Yeah,
down. It was a
he was
4th down.
he was trying to range over to get it from Devonta Smith. I forget who was covering him, though. It was
I think
either
it was
McLeod or
I
no,
think
it might actually no, it was Darnay Holmes, who I'm not a fan of.
yes, I believe it was. Yes, it was. There's been so much that's happened this year. It's like it feels like that play was a year ago, but it wasn't that long ago now that I think about it. Anybody that's in the waiting, I'll get to you. I'm gonna bring you on. So just set tight for me, please. Uh yeah, to me, Xavier McKinney is the guy that he's a huge part of our defense going forward. And I think the other answer to that too is, Martindale is getting some hints at possibly being a head coach. And I think the defensive coordinator is a big part of those decisions as well. I don't think Martindale will get a head coaching job, but just in case we do lose him, that can always change. I was never a huge fan of Patrick Graham's defensive philosophy, and obviously he didn't have a lot of success with the Raiders this year. But Martindale has got a different philosophy, and it seems to be live and die by the blitz. And there's different opinions about what's important and what's not important. So I mean, you'd have to truly ask him, but I definitely think that in the offseason, the Giants have to do something about secondary.
And linebacker.
Oh, linebacker without a question. Well, I think you also got to remember that we're going to get Darren Beavers back, who I think, assuming he will be 100% healthy, I think he will be a monster in this Giants defense. I really do. I mean, he will be absolute monster. And so we've definitely got to, improve the linebacker position in the secondary. But, I mean, you can't think there's not really a future for Leonard Williams on the team. You're going to have to pay Dexter Lawrence, who obviously had a big year in a contract year. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how some of these contracts come out.
Yeah, just to quickly touch up on a little bit of those different things. I mean, Leonard Williams is a guy, I think he's got 2.5 sacks on the season. I don't think he's worth the money that he was paid.
No.
He is a guy that on the film and, with the eye test, he does make room for sacks and pressures and fumbles to happen. But, I mean, it's just, I called it when he got paid. Or, obviously after the 11.5 sack year, I said, this guy's not going to have the production that he once had. And I said 6.5 for, I think it was 2021. And people were like, that's not going to be it. I'm like, well, watch it happen. So obviously, I think Dex has taken on more of that, alpha role in the interior. As far as the comparison between Patrick Graham and Wink Martindale. I mean, I wanted Wink as the head coach when we were searching for one in 2020.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think about.
At this point, I don't think, now, obviously I could be wrong. He's like 59. I don't think he's going to take a job. Obviously, what he's done with his defense is remarkable, but at the same time, it's not necessarily too remarkable. Like, oh, they were a top 10 defense. Obviously, outside the stats, you could look at it and say, okay, they played like a top 10 defense with the talent. But also, I got reminded, Vic Fangio took a job at like almost 60 years old, and obviously that didn't pan out. But what I like about Wink, and obviously this is just it's been a style for the last few years, and really him as a defensive coordinator compared to a guy like Patrick Graham, is even though Wink has been dealing with scraps all year, it doesn't really bite him. Now he's adjusted. He's played some zone. He's played some man. But like Patrick Graham, like that bend but don't break, defense, that I get it. You didn't have personnel and you had personnel issues and injuries, but that really isn't an excuse. I mean, I don't know what happened in Las Vegas. I mean, Chandler Jones and Max Crosby on paper, they're pretty good edge rushers, but I don't know what happened there. So that's why I'm not going to say that Pat Graham is really terrible, but I mean, at the same time, I appreciate Wink a little bit more. And I think Giants fans kind of overrated Patrick Graham, but that's just my personal opinion.
Oh, they absolutely did. I mean, Wink's made a big, big difference to this defense. I mean, he really has. And I think they're going to play really well in the playoffs. And even if the Giants don't make it all the way to the Super Bowl, I don't think our defense will let us down. I really don't believe that at all. If I'm not saying that means the offense is going to let them down. We'll see how games go, but I think I believe in our defense, And I think that they're going to show up every game, and I think Martindale will have a good game plan. I really do believe that.
I believe.
All
it
right,
too.
Big Blue, I got to get on to these other guys.
Real quickly, score prediction: Giants win 24-20.
I think I got 27-21.
Okay, all right, one score.
We're close.
We're close.
All right, Big Blue, I
Thanks,
appreciate
Fizzle.
it. All right, I'm going to get through this one real fast because I don't think Eric's going to have a lot to say. Eric, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
What's up, Eric? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Yes. You know, it was a good season. The Seahawks had a good year this year.
Your Seahawks.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's all over with.
Yes, sir. But the good news is at least I didn't really get to pay much attention to the game today because my nephew was playing basketball. So, I mean, I could just watch him play basketball and not even worry about the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, at least you got to watch him play basketball, right?
He didn't really he's still very young. He wasn't really playing much today. He was mainly he did a few good things today. We could see, but yeah.
Well, hopefully he did more than Geno Smith did today.
I don't know. I don't know, pal fat bud.
Well, you got the Giants beat the Vikings tomorrow?
You know, I would love for you guys to get the win tomorrow. I mean, because but then again, I'm kind of torn because also like when you lose little baby doll, she has more fun like with the whistle.
When the Giants lose, you think she has more fun?
I don't know, but no. What I'm saying is it's kind of comical type thing, but I mean I definitely understand it. I mean,
so you like to laugh at my pain, Eric, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that, buddy. I'm not saying that, pal.
Okay. It's okay. I mean, I don't take offense to it.
Yeah, you know, I like to watch you, Philly, and Mark. I mean, I like to watch all of you guys.
Well,
yep.
They do their well. It's been fun messing with them this year.
Yeah.
But Pizzle's your favorite though, right? Over Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm your favorite. I mean, right? Because there's no way in the world you can look at Philly and look at Mark and say, yeah, that guy, they're my favorite over Pizzle.
Oh boy.
Come on, Eric. All right, man. I got to get to these other guys.
All right, buddy. All right, have a good night now.
Have a good night, Eric. I just, what are we gonna? Before I bring this next guest, I got to play this real fast because it's only fitting. All
right, winning business. If you ain't winning, you ain't got no damn business in here. One love, baby. Yeah!
My buddy Bones NYG.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
That was a cold night, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, dude. Honestly, the hot toddies that we had that day, I wasn't even feeling cold at all. I was nice and numb.
Yeah.
Wasn't too wasted. It was a nice little buzz,
That's like one of the last times we beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, before the boat trip. I mean, it's the last time we beat the Cowboys with Dak as the starter.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true.
And yes, it is the boat trip. That was the boat trip year.
Yeah.
And look where we are now.
That year, honestly, 2016 had a great feeling to it, and it was after that game that I know I kind of really started to believe, but ultimately it just didn't work out. The boat trip happened, and it was all said and done.
I got to ask you this, bro. You honestly feel that if we kept Coughlin for that 1 year and that 2016 year, that was the year after Coughlin left. Do you honestly think we would have went all the way if we still had Coughlin? Because Eli wasn't the same after Coughlin. Let's just face
it. Here's what the thing about Coughlin, if I can take myself back to then, there was a lot of, and this is one thing that I wish Giant fans gotten better at, because Giant fans get hung up on something all the time. There's always something that they get hung up on, and they just keep pounding on it until it eventually folds, right? And eventually just gives in. And Giant fans at that time, Coughlin's age was always a problem. It was like his age was, it was like it was almost like he was about to die. We have been so far removed from that, and Coughlin is still, God rest his soul, his wife, but God rest her soul. But he's still around. Like they were acting like this man was about to die, and that we should replace him now because he's too old. He's this and that. And it's like the more and more I think about it, we haven't ever been right until this year since we moved on from Coughlin. I don't think they ever had a plan to move on from Coughlin. And, they went straight to McAdoo, and that ended up being a disaster and a train wreck. I know we made the playoffs, but it didn't eventually work out. And then we've been trying to find our coach ever since really Coughlin. And so, in my opinion, I hope that the lesson learned in that is you can say, yeah, let's replace. But unless you've got a legit plan in place, I don't know how the hell you can feel good about replacing anything unless you've got a plan, an actual plan in place. And so I always say, man, football can go hand in hand with life. And that's a great example where you had a really good thing with Coughlin. Granted, not much had been done after the Super Bowl year, because there was there were some down years in after that 11-12 Super Bowl. So I understand why they eventually moved on. One of those years, I can't remember. It might have been like 2013. Someone can correct me. Like the Giants started like 0-6.
My rookie year.
It was what year was that? Was it
2013? My rookie year,
yeah.
bro.
So they start 0-6. And I'll never forget that. I don't know what I think it was like the 6th game. My wife and I, we had to go to a wedding in Florida, which was 8 hours away from where we were. And the Giants had just lost to the Bears on a Thursday night game. Oof. And I can't remember who was quarterbacking for the Bears. It might have been Cup. I don't remember, but we lost terribly, and we ended up going 0-6. I made my post-game video, and I literally told we were supposed to leave the next morning, and I said, fuck it, we're leaving right now. Because I was so upset because we had lost. We drove all the way. I was so mad that the Giants lost. I wasn't going to bed, and I just said, fuck it, we're driving now. So anyways, nevertheless, but yeah, it's like, I think the Coughlin thing, we just never had a plan. We just never did.
Nah, bro.
And it's unfortunate. I really thought when we made the playoffs with McAdoo, I thought maybe we did because he was kind of being touted as like this genius, this guru genius.
You never heard anything from him, like him going to other teams, like no success at all.
Yeah.
I
think he was with Carolina this year.
Come on.
I mean, it's just nothing. Yeah, I mean, you don't ever hear him getting any job interviews. Joe Judge will never get a head coaching job interview again. I highly doubt that ever happens.
I'm surprised he's the quarterback coach for the Patriots.
I only because I think he's in the good graces of Belichick.
I guess.
I mean, that's the one thing. Gettleman really screwed that up. And as much as I love to try to defend Gettleman, because there's some really nice players on this team, thanks to Gettleman, he really screwed the Joe Judge thing up. Just terribly. I mean, it was terrible.
I mean, you got Danny and Saquon to begin with. They've been our dynamic duo. They've been our, nucleus of this team, bro.
Well, I mean, you look at Dexter Lawrence, Xavier McKinney. You just look at all these guys. I mean, even Adoree Jackson's been a big part that he brought in. I know Kenny Galladay's been bad, but he absolutely crushed Andre.
To find a coaching staff. That's all it really was.
It all boiled down to just finding the coaching staff. and they finally did. They finally got. They
Coach,
finally
man.
got it. Yeah,
Because
Dable is the
Saying
great
that
thing about. Go ahead.
Coughlin was Eli's coach. But
Yeah.
Dan Dable is his coach, man. We found our coach. I love Wink Martindale. I'm a little jealous of my aunt because she got to meet him before I did. But
Well, I was gonna say, Dable, he just seems like he's got a plan in place every single week for this team.
dude, he's lit
No.
up fire in the NFL this year, bro.
He's a great, and I'm gonna tell you what, I think the Giants are a sneaky. You know, I don't you've heard of Hard Knocks before, and I really think that the Giants could be a candidate for a Hard Knocks next year, just because of all what's happened here. You know, with what's been going on with Dable, and then Daniel Jones.
Some fans wouldn't like it because I know there are fans out there that don't like the spotlight as much.
Yeah,
but I can kind of see it on.
I can see it happening, man.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of.
Not that I'd be super excited about it, but I wouldn't mind it.
I think there's a lot of interest in Dable and who he is as a getting to know him more and what type of coach he is, and honestly, I've been blown away by his ability to turn this team around.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because forget the last decade, just look at the last 5 years. We were in the pits of hell. And for him to absolutely turn this organization around in literally 1 year is crazy to me. It's crazy.
Pretty rock bottom.
I think unlimited liquid is right here. I don't think you can be in Hard Knocks if you went to the playoffs. Yeah, but see, they're doing 2 different Hard Knocks now, unlimited. They're doing training camp, and then they're also doing in season. And I could see the Giants doing an in season because the Cardinals made the playoffs last year, and they were part of the in season. So I always look at Hard Knocks as like 2 teams every year. But no, Bones, it's always good to see you, brother. You excited about tomorrow? What do you think the score is going to be? You got a score prediction?
27-10.
Giants win that big?
Defense, bro. We got all our starters.
I really do. I've said that I think
we got all our starters.
I feel like, and of course, I'm going 27-21. But I said on the show with Fisk on Wednesday night, I said either the Vikings barely escape and win, or we blow them the hell out. Which
then that's your 7-10 right there.
There's your 2017. I don't know why. I just feel like we've got these fuckers' numbers. Now, are you excited? I'm curious. Are you excited to potentially play the Eagles next?
Bring them, bro. I am debating. If that happens, I want to go to Philly. I've been talking to my pops about it. Been talking to a whole bunch of people. I'm trying to convince a whole group of people. Let's go to Philly.
Okay. Well, I'm considering it as well.
Right.
I really am.
Come
I just feel like
they got our number. Let's go.
I know.
Go to battle, bro. Come on.
I know. There's a part of me that wants to like
that.
There's a part of me that's like, I would love to do Philly because I think Philly's, I like the trash talking aspect. And then there's a part of me that thinks like, man, what if the NFC Championship game's in Jerry World?
I've talked about that myself, bro.
Either one of them's good.
It's
you know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. It's only fitting.
I know.
New team, it'll be the ultimate revenge. It'd be the ultimate.
I know, man. I know. Bro. And I'd love to be at one of them. I really would. But yeah, Bones. I think you got anything else?
Fuck Philly.
Fuck Philly. All right, buddy. I'm gonna get on with it. Always good chatting with you. Hopefully the Giants get it done tomorrow and we advance. We get to play Philly. Always good to see my buddy Bones. I'm gonna bring on Big Dash. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
I appreciate you waiting for me.
Oh, no problem, man. I needed some positive energy. I've been battling a lot of fans today. Not even about this game.
Have you been in the Twitter Spaces?
You know, I live in the Twitter Spaces.
I know. I see you in there. I creep. A lot of people don't realize I creep on them, and
Okay.
I creep in there. I don't really do. I don't ever get to talk. I don't ever. I did one Twitter space not too long ago that
I remember.
it was pretty
I,
good. It was
I
not
was I
bad.
was in that one. I was in that
Yeah.
one with you. Yeah.
And you know, it was some good heat and debate. The
Yeah.
other ones I listened to, but I got to be honest with you, Dash. There's so much negativity in those spaces.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to stay in there.
Yeah.
It,
No. Yeah. Yeah. To say the least, yes. It
it's
is.
just really hard.
And today, and like all I want to talk about is the Minnesota Vikings
Sure.
and this game. And when
And
I
what
get
do
into
they
these
want to talk?
spaces,
Yeah.
no, I'm saying when I get into these spaces, it's always, you know, Daniel Jones and is
Yeah.
this, that, and the other stuff. So, but it's been a long week, man. I don't know if it's been a long week for you, but
It
it's been a
really has.
long week for me, man.
It's
And
weird it's weird that you say that. It feels like it has felt like a long week.
man, I can't wait for this game to get here. You know, I'm on the West Coast too, so it's 8:30. So I'm still
I
trying to figure out what. I don't know if I'm going to take some shots to put myself to sleep so I can wake up early enough for the,
Man,
you know.
y'all honestly got the best time.
Oh my, yes. Yeah,
Anytime I ever go to Vegas, I'm like, man, this time is so much better out here than it is where I'm at.
yeah. When I first moved out of New Jersey, I lived in Vegas for 10 years before I moved to California. So yeah, man, I got used to these 10 o'clock in the morning games, man. It's fantastic. You eat
Oh
breakfast and
yeah.
football's on.
But then like you get to watch, you know, any games that you want to watch, like you get to see them, and then it's not like middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this
I watch
Chargers.
I watch Sunday Night Football and then Game of Thrones after that.
Well, Eastern time zone. I'm on Central, but Eastern time.
Okay.
Them people are screwed.
Yeah,
I
man, I
mean,
know.
they are screwed.
Nah, man, yeah, absolutely. I jumped on late, so I didn't see it from the beginning, man. I know you guys been talking about everything. I'm pretty sure
Yeah. We'll
you
talk.
guys been talking about everything.
What do you want to talk about? Tell me what you want to talk about.
No, I'm saying I'm excited for this game, man. And like I
Yeah.
said, I've been watching the videos you've been putting out, and
Uh-huh.
it's been a roller coaster of a week. It's been up and down, you know. And then now it's getting close to the game. Now I'm nervous, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting nervous, and it's not even about Minnesota. It's just the whole playoff experience, man. I want these guys to do so well because I've been talking a whole bunch of crap to a
Mhm.
whole bunch of people, and I need
I know.
these Giants to pull through for sure.
I know. Well, I tell you this too. For me, not that I'm looking past Minnesota, and not that I would want the Giants to, but I'm really excited for the potential challenge to go against the Eagles.
Oh, I
And
want all the
that to
smoke.
me is what you know, I'm thirsting over that chance to play the Eagles and knock them out, you know, because they've had such a great season, and I want the Giants to be the ones that knock them out.
I'm with you.
Jaguars
I'm with you.
actually going for a game-winning field goal. It's crazy
Yeah,
how
I
this
got it
game.
up on the computer now. I've been
But
following along.
but it's I know I decided to do a live tonight because I was like, well, this game's no good, and ever since I've been live, it's been a major comeback. But no,
Yeah.
like you know, but I'll tell you this: I hate to talk about Danny because I know the Twitter Spaces love it, but to me, I really feel like tomorrow's game comes down to how well Danny will handle the playoff pressure, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him, man, because
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too.
like he's been a great Giant and he's been a great a great player for us. And you know, those Twitter Spaces, it's really I wish I could put a finger on it of how I really feel, but it's so I feel like there's a lot of arrogance in there, and there's a lot of people that I'm not saying that they're not smart football people, uh, but they act as if Danny's job or the quarterback position is so easy.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot of narratives.
there's a lot of narratives, but there's a lot of I mean, how many teams, honestly, Dash, really love their quarterback?
Like wholeheartedly, you know,
That's what
unconditionally.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, how many teams
Not many.
actually really love their quarterback? There's a lot of teams out there that don't even like. I mean, you got so like going into this year, like how how much on the hot seat was Derek Carr for the Raiders?
Yep.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, I mean, he was all of a sudden they got him to the playoffs, and I know all the stuff that happened with Gruden and whatever, and that's kind of transpired, but like all of a sudden he has fallen off the face of the earth for them. He's gone,
Yeah,
right? And
awful.
Trevor Lawrence, he's gotten lucky in this situation because he threw
Yeah.
100 interceptions tonight, and somehow the Jags still won. Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. He's awesome. Like, I think he's probably top 3 best quarterbacks in the league, but he's now one and done in the playoffs.
Yep.
And the narrative was he couldn't get his team to the playoffs, and now he gets them to the playoffs, and then they end up going one and done. And
After being up 27-0 too.
after being up, yeah, and I'm not blaming him, but the reality is like there's more to the game and to a team than just the quarterback. But at the same time, Danny is a huge part, and I don't know how you feel, Dash, but I feel like Danny's been to sit there and watch him get hurt the last couple of seasons, and then the team just absolutely tank. I don't know how you don't put 2 and 2 together there.
Yeah. No, yeah. For me personally, man, well, first thing, I've been a Giants fan all my life, so I'm root for the Giants first anyway. Daniel Jones, it's easy for me to root for Daniel Jones too, because just think about the situation he came in. I love an underdog story. A lot of people questioned the pick. They questioned the pick. I questioned the pick as well. That first game that he came in Tampa Bay, I was like, that's our quarterback. When he came back in his first game up, I was like, we found a quarterback. And then, we had the seasons with Judge and Jason Garrett, and, coming into this year, I was not as high as like you and Fitz were, as far as going into the season. I was like, you know what? I want to see what happens with Dable, because I know I'm looking at the weapons, and it surprised me how good he played. And like I said, I get into a lot of arguments over Daniel Jones because, like I said, I'm one of those guys that do support Daniel Jones in those spaces. And but I go back and forth. I try to keep it as honest as possible. So I don't sugarcoat or anything like that. But when I hear people talk about, Barkley won us these games, the defense won us these games, I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, I can give Barkley credit for 2 or 3 of these games. Everything else was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. And I know the stats, like as far as touchdowns go, his stats aren't the best. But you tell me, if you take away Daniel Jones from this team, we're not winning the same amount of games.
No,
with anybody else. Daniel Jones is the best quarterback for the New York Giants in this current situation. And depending on what happens in these playoffs, because I think we're going to make a run, man. I think we're going to make a run.
I think it's possible.
I think, the way this defense is playing now, and the way that Daniel Jones has gotten comfortable and has command of this offense as much as they have given him so far, all it takes is a little bit more trust. If Kafka wants to open up that playbook, I think tomorrow Minnesota might be in trouble, man.
By the way,
especially if we can run the ball.
You've got a beautiful setup back there.
I appreciate it.
I mean, you got a beautiful setup. I love it.
I'm not in my mama's basement.
There's a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna, it's funny you brought up Fisk. I actually had a conversation before we even did our first episode. I talked to Fisk. I said, look, I need to know what your true opinion of Daniel Jones is, and I need you to be straight with me. And we need to put it all on the table, because I need us to be on the same page about Daniel. And not that we were going to have a narrative, but I wanted to really know what he thought about it. I didn't want any flip flop, and I didn't want him to be like, no, I don't like him, and then all of a sudden he did like him. I wanted to be very clear. What is your thoughts? And we had that conversation, and once we had that conversation, we can do this show together. And it's not that I wanted to be someone with like-minded or anything like that, because I actually like disagreeing. Like, to me, I think that's fun. But that's why I teamed up with Fizz, because I figured we'd do a lot of disagreeing. But
I love the argument you guys have over Slayton.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fisk is very, I don't want to say he's fantasy footballish, but like Slayton doesn't wow him, and I get it. Like I understand that. I'm one of these guys where I remember like Amani Toomer and Ike Hilliard, and I'm like, those are my giant receivers. Like Fisk, he got sick with like OBJ. OBJ came in and was a spectacular player, and he was awesome. Like, he was great, but like I just never lived in a world where like I needed an OBJ on my team. Just give me somebody, just give me somebody that wants to do their job and just be done with it. Fisk likes the TOs.
Yeah.
That's what he like, and that's cool, man. Everyone likes their own thing, but the biggest thing is like I just didn't want to flip flop it on Daniel. What it was is what it was, and the funny thing about Fisk is he and I've had this ever since I've been on YouTube. When I first got on here, it was we didn't know if Eli was the guy, and then then there was a time when like Fisk was saying like, well, Eli's done, he's washed, he's this and that. Of course, I was never a believer that Eli was washed. I felt like the team never really put any good things around him. Like they didn't protect him, they didn't give him a good offensive line. But I realized that there was a time that we had to move on from him, which a lot of content creators and a lot of Giant fans, like in the Twitter space, if Twitter was going really on big then, it would, the spaces would have been all about replacing Eli.
Oh yeah.
But they finally did, and they replaced him with Daniel. And then you realize, like, well, Daniel's a lot like Eli, but except he's got some tools that Eli didn't even have. For example, running the ball.
Yes.
And it's like, how can you not like Daniel? Like, I don't get it. And then on top of it, the guys that you're asking for to go get,
they don't exist.
They don't exist. Like they just don't fucking exist. Like that's what's so frustrating. Is like I can sit here and say, well, yeah, I'd love to go out and buy a Porsche, but like where am I gonna find the money to get that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I can dream that, I can say all that, but it's not a reality. So it's crazy, like how people talk in those spaces, and they give these backhanded compliments to Daniel that really bother me. And that's where it's like I have to remove myself, because anytime I'm in a situation where it's like, you know what, I'm starting to feel my,
I jumped in, and that's when I jump in, because sometimes I can ignore it too. But like I said, I'm not overly, like I said, I'm caught in the middle, because like I said, I can see, both sides, right? I understand people want an elite quarterback, but when I think about it, rationally, there's only a few of them, in the league. There's only a few of them. And for me, Daniel Jones is a good quarterback.
Do you now tell Dad over your YouTube channel?
Oh no, it's just Big Dash Knows. That's it. Just type in Big Dash Knows, no spaces. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and everything. Yep.
Big Dash Knows.
Yeah. So yeah. So for me, when I'm judging a quarterback or judging a player, like for example, Daniel Jones, I look at other things other than stats. I got into an argument. They say, oh, he doesn't take any deep shots. I said, well, you know what? As far as I know, the first down is 10 yards. So as long as he gets me to the sticks, the drive is going. And the way that we need to eat up the clock, because we don't have a real explosive type of offense. So we eat up the clock, keep other teams' offense off the field, and we score touchdowns. I think about this year. I can't think about 2023 yet. I can't think about the draft. I can't think about free agency. It's been so long that we have not been in the playoffs, that we cannot be greedy right now. So that's my argument with a lot of people. Like, I can't even think about the future right now. This is it's 2023 now, but this is this season.
Well,
now we can run. We can run, man.
You know what bothers me about the guys that say he doesn't take a deep shot? First of all, they're running pretty much a West Coast style offense.
Yep.
Which if anybody that knows anything about the West Coast knows that you go from short to long as far as your routes, you looking for your routes. It's not long to short. You're not looking deep first, you're looking short first. And what bothers me about that is, how do you not know for a fact that the coaching staff is saying, hey, take your shorts as much? Because if you think about it, if you can move the chains and get a first down, I understand you can take the shots down the field, and maybe you'll get the big play, but it's also a lower percentage avenue. Like it's a lower the farther you throw the ball down the field, the lower the percentage is of it actually being completed.
I think it's what you said.
There's no different if I'm a shooter in NBA. If I shoot the ball from half court, it's a lot harder for me to make it there than it is from the free throw line. You know what I'm so that like I don't understand. Like you can throw as many deep shots as you want to. And the other thing that bothers me too, Dash, is if you've been to MetLife, or even if you went to Old Giant Stadium, but even MetLife, and MetLife is not as bad as Giant Stadium, but we have all these brand new spanking beautiful stadiums now, right? These awesome stadiums. But MetLife has always been windy. It always has been. I mean, and now it's not as bad as, but if I'm watching on TV, I can't feel the wind blowing. I can't feel like, hey, there's 10-mile-an-hour winds or 15-mile-an-hour. Like you can't feel that. So if I'm warming up before the game and I clearly see that, like, hey, 30 yards downfield, it's tough to complete those passes because the wind. Like you don't, it never gets talked about in those spaces. And that's what bothers me is like they don't ever account for weather when they're having a conversation about if it was a dome situation, if we were the New Orleans Saints or we were Atlanta Falcons, then I would say, okay, then that narrative doesn't exist. But the fact is Daniel Jones plays in the Northeast outdoors where the weather is not always perfect, right? Yeah. And you can say, well, Mahomes plays outdoors, no, but that's Kansas City. The wind's not the same thing. Like it's a different part of the country.
Yeah,
it's not the same. And on top of it, he goes and plays Las Vegas, where there's a beautiful dome. He goes to Denver, where the air is thin, right? He goes and plays the Chargers in another dome. It's situations of where you play at also matter. Like the Jets have never had a fucking good quarterback.
It's been no.
Like I mean,
decent, but not good. They had a bunch of decent guys.
Yes, decent. Yeah. I mean, Chad Pennington was decent, right? But the point is like we have a little brother in the Jets who has clearly shown that it's really damn hard to get a quarterback. Yeah. Yet we have been spoiled, in my opinion, with guys like Eli and now with Daniel. And I can't believe how some of those guys talk in those places. Yeah, I wasn't able to see it, Cal. I was able to see it. I got my TV right behind my monitor here. And I couldn't believe it. I actually did a live because the game was terrible. And then it got good again. But that's playoff football.
It is. I'm actually glad, that the game ended up like that.
It's those spaces. And of course now, Dable gets all the credit for Daniel and Dable saved the season, and which he brought in some great things. He's helped Daniel. And they all said Jason Garrett sucked too. Yeah. And Joe Judge, like, why if Jason Garrett sucked, why wouldn't Daniel Jones suck?
That's to me, and the funny thing to me is everybody says it's a what have you done for me lately type of deal for everybody else. Yeah. And then when they look at Daniel Jones, they always want to pull up the older stats and all the bad stats. One thing I will say about Daniel Jones going into the season, the thing I criticized was pocket awareness and also anticipation. And you've seen throughout the season that his pocket awareness has now gotten better. Look how the sacks are down, and you can't say it's just the offensive line. He's being able to extend plays with his legs, and he's getting the ball out quick. But the other thing is anticipation. In the last few weeks, the wide receivers aren't waiting for anything. He used to wait for guys to get open. Now that ball is on them as soon as they're out of their breaks.
Well, look, and I hate to bring this up, Dash, but honestly, since Daniel Jones has been here, who's been his best receiver?
It was Slayton.
From the beginning.
From the beginning was Slayton. Yeah.
But Slayton's a 5th round receiver.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
I don't like. Look, I love Josh Allen's game. Josh Allen's fun to watch. I think he's a little overrated, to be honest with you. But he was not Josh Allen we see today until he got Diggs.
Yeah.
I mean, when Kelvin Benjamin was his receiver, he wasn't doing these things. And again, Kelvin Benjamin wasn't all that great, but Diggs and Gabriel Davis has taken Josh Allen to a new level.
Yeah, wide receivers absolutely matter. They absolutely matter.
And well, I mean, we look in our own division. Jalen Hurts. Yep. He looks like he looked awful in his last playoff game a year ago against the Bucks. He got absolutely destroyed and mauled. And then in the offseason, they go out and get him AJ Brown to pair up with Devontae Smith, and he looks like an MVP level receiver all of a sudden.
Look at Tua.
Tua, yeah. Well, he's been
even though he's down now and he's hurt, but just look at the season he had.
That's always been Tua's problem, is that can he stay healthy or not? But what's frustrating about that is he got a new system, new coaching staff, and then they paired Waddle and Tyreek Hill with them, and he's all of a sudden now nobody talks about Tua being terrible. Everyone was laughing at Tua.
Getting rid of him, drafting a quarterback.
Everybody was, but like, it's, how do you not sit there and wonder, like, man, what would Daniel Jones be with a Devontae Adams, for example? Like, just anybody. Like, Golladay is a joke. See, this is what bothers me about them Twitter Spaces, Dash, because the conversation should be about how bad Kenny Golladay is. That should be the debates, and like, man, Kenny Golladay is terrible, or the debate should be, how this guy and that guy. It shouldn't be about Daniel all the damn time.
It gets old. It gets old, and even when you try to change the conversation, it come and trust me, a lot of people do try to change. They try to change the conversation, and then a comment is made or a comparison is made, and they run right back to the DJ conversation, and then you end up just leaving the spaces. And a lot of people do that. People leave private chats because of these arguments over Daniel Jones. And for me, if you want to argue about Daniel Jones, that's fine. That's dandy, whatever. But right now, with the Giants in the playoffs, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about how we're going to beat the Vikings. I want to talk about, can we make a run? I want to talk about, like today, they elevated Corbin and they elevated Pimpleton. I haven't heard one conversation. How are they going to use these guys? Because every time we bring somebody up from the practice squad, they have some type of magical package that they put together. Well, and these guys are being used.
I kind of wonder if they'll use Pimpleton
I hope
in a return role.
I hope so,
because I know Brightwell's been doing it. I think Brightwell's good as a running back, but I don't love him as a returner.
I don't want him getting hurt back there either, because we need him.
You don't want him getting hurt, because I think actually he may have a role in this offense.
He should.
And to add on to your point, Dash, I don't think I've ever been more excited potentially about a Giants offseason than I am this upcoming. But I'm also like you, where it's like, shit, I want to keep this season going. I'm not ready for the offseason, but it's going to be a fun offseason, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. It's like I want the season to go as long as it possibly can. What do you think the score is going to be tomorrow? What do you got?
I think we're going to return the favor. We're going to win by 3 points. 24-21 is what I predicted. Or that's what I'm predicting. Yeah, 24-21. I like your score too. I like 20. We said 27-20 or 27-21.
27-21 is what I'm thinking.
I like that too. Whatever the score is, as long as we're winning.
I think that look, Justin Jefferson is a great receiver. They've been great offensively. I think they're going to get some points. I definitely think that's going to happen. I think our defense is going to play better than it did the first time around. I think that we're going to be able to score in their defense too. Their defense just does not scare me. And offensively, it really looked like to me. And again, I know this was against the Commanders and the Colts. Take the Eagles game out of it for a moment. It really looked like offensively we were really starting to hit our stride.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing about it, and people can say opponents, but I think we played some really good football in December, and we got healthy. And
I have a question for you. Did you agree with sitting the starters against the Philadelphia Eagles? I didn't. I didn't agree with it. It ended up being the right move, but I didn't like it.
I'll be honest with you, Dash. I was torn both ways because I'm never a person. I'm a person that believes that every game matters, every game counts, every game is important. But the way I looked at this too was, and what ultimately made me change my mind was, I need the Giants defense to be healthy for another month. Not just this game against the Vikings. I need them to, if I want them to go all the way to Super Bowl, I need them to be healthy for just give me another month out of your bodies, out of your minds, out of your spirits, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I was definitely okay with the defensive guys sitting, because we need those guys to be healthy, because obviously if you want to win a championship, you got to run the ball well and you got to play good defense. Offensively, I would have liked to get them guys to play, but at the same time, I completely understand leaving Saquon on the sideline and leaving Daniel on the sideline. And if you're gonna keep those guys, I was surprised that even guys like Slayton sat Big Dash.
Yeah,
I mean, Slayton didn't even play, which I was like, shit, Slayton's not even playing.
My argument for playing is because I thought that the offense was in the groove, like you were saying, and I kept and like I said, spaces always have something to do with it. When we beat Washington, and then when we beat the Minnesota Vikings, it was like, well, they're the worst passing defense in the league, and I was like, you know what, we already have our spot in the playoffs. Just for a couple of series, let Daniel Jones cook against a number one defense or a team that's competing, and let him get his feet wet. And he doesn't have to play the whole game, but let's just get a little bit of success against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then just pull them. That way, that's a real defense. Nobody can say anything because they had everything to play for. And that's selfish reasons. I understand that. And also, I just hate Philly. Just like Bones said, it's F Philly forever.
Yeah,
I hate them. I hate them the most.
I'll say this too, and see, I'm so that 07-08 team always changed my mindset when they played the Patriots in the last week, and I mean, look, inject that game into my veins. I mean, right? I mean, that game was everything. But it's a different NFL now.
It is,
and they're playing an extra game now in the NFL than they were back then. I know the Patriots were undefeated and they played hard. And the Eagles, on the other hand, we wanted to kind of do damage to them. But then at the same time, we may have been helping the Cowboys. And so look, man, I've never been that torn on the whole thing. Like, I was just so torn. And at the same I think in the end, Dable did the right thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm always worried about that week off because you don't want them, like, you don't want Daniel to be rusty.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly
Like, because I mean, if you think about it, they killed the Colts, and they took their foot off the gas at the end of that game. And then ultimately they didn't play the Eagle game. And so, is he going to have to knock off? Because I mean, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings played last week. They played hard. So, like, there's no rust there. Now, granted, they've got offensive line issues.
Yes, they do.
But I just hope that Danny doesn't have any rust tomorrow, and they just come out guns a-blazing, and the offense looks good.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, I don't want them to get away from the run because I know, like I said, it's the worst quote unquote passing defense, but we still need to be successful in the run game. And I think if Barkley's able to get anywhere close to 100 yards, that means this game is in the bag for us.
Well,
man.
I think Daniel's going to run a lot too tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, he is almost like a damn running back. I mean, he really is. And I think Barkley is going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield tomorrow.
I like that too.
I think they're going to give him chances to get an open space. And look, Saquon's another one where it's like, how is he gonna? What's his thought? Like, how's he gonna play in a playoff scenario? Right? I mean, you were the number 2 overall pick. You've never gotten to this point. How are you gonna play?
He seemed to be relaxed in that interview at the locker, or is at the podium. He seemed relaxed. I like that.
Yeah,
no nervous energy.
I like the vibe the Giants team was given this week. I really do. I like the vibe that they were putting out. I mean, the coaches and I know there was a little bit of bulletin board material, but I'm never. I mean, if you can't get hyped up for that game anyways, like what's bulletin board material going to do?
Yeah.
So to me, I like the energy. I like the energy Kayvon's putting out there. And I was always worried about. I mean, when we drafted Kayvon, I was worried about how he would be, but I've loved his attitude, how he's played at the end of the year. He's one of the main reasons why I feel as confident as I do, because I feel like he's going to eat tomorrow. I feel like Dexter Lawrence is going to eat, and I think Kurt's going to have a rough time to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. He's a great player, so they're going to make their plays. I think also we're going to have a little bit of trouble with Hockenson, just because we've had issues with tight ends. I mean, we just have. We just don't have anybody to really cover those guys. I think McKinney's going to have to be playing over top of Jefferson. And Love has been great, but he's so much bigger than Love. So it's like there's a size mismatch there, and we really don't have a linebacker to cover those guys.
And it's funny too, because I remember when Landon Collins was here the first time, we were like, he's awful covering tight ends,
Yeah.
but he might be our best option tomorrow. You know?
Well, the way he played that Colts, and like I actually thought about this. To be honest with you, Dash, was like I had gotten to the point where Landon can't cover anybody. Like that's
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
he left, I was like, he can't cover anybody. So like he needs to go on. So when he came back, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna fit. But I actually think that he's
He's
been
doing good.
okay in Martindale's
He's doing good.
system. Like
He's doing good.
I think he's done well. Like, I mean, he's obviously he's at a size disadvantage against the running game when he's in the linebacking role.
I
But
agree.
in the passing game, that's where his game is elevated because as technically as a linebacker, he's got the speed advantage. And so it's just from a run game standpoint, it's a little rough. But outside of that, I mean, if Smith and McFadden and Collins, if they can play pretty well, I think Hockenson will be we can limit him. I know he got a touchdown against us last time,
Yeah.
but I mean, I've got a lot of trust in this Giants defense. I really
That second touchdown that Hockenson got. If Darnay Holmes was 2 inches taller, that ball
Yeah.
doesn't get there. That ball
Well,
doesn't get.
Holmes,
But yeah,
Holmes
yeah,
has had such I want to say a rough year, and it's so weird because I really had
ups
high
and
hopes
downs.
for him.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know if Martindale's put him in tough spots for him to be successful. Uh, I'll give him credit, like it doesn't seem like he's quit.
No,
Where it's like,
he's lively still. He's lively still. But you know what? You know who I think the key is. The key is going to be tomorrow. I think it's going to be Leonard Williams. I think it's going to. If Leonard Williams has one of those games, I think, yeah, Leonard Williams is the key to me because right now you figure with their center out, and he might actually be playing for the Vikings, but it's Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, we know what he's going to do,
yeah,
and they can't double team both Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. So if Leonard Williams can step up, and I know he has the issue with his neck and has a game tomorrow, I feel for Kirk Cousins because you know what? You can't throw to Justin Jefferson laying on your back, and
well,
that's what we need to do.
I think the whole defensive line has a
Oh
chance
yeah,
to have
no,
a year.
absolutely,
I think the
absolutely.
whole I mean,
It's
that's
in the
what
trenches.
yeah, I think in the trenches and then getting Adoree back and getting Xavier McKinney back, unlike that. And see, that's the thing is like I've seen Eagle fans, come to my page or they might see me on Twitter or whatever, and they're like, you don't want to play the Eagles because the last time we really played you guys, we blew you the hell out, And I'm like, that's true, but
Mhm.
we didn't have Adoree, we didn't have Xavier
Mhm.
McKinney, and our defense is completely different without those two.
And
And
then that
so,
play by Love too,
yeah, well,
like you mentioned.
our defense when Xavier McKinney was out was not the same. I mean, we went a
Yeah.
month without pretty much winning, and it was I think a lot to do with him being out, and we just didn't have good safety play. We
Mhm.
were down on cornerback DB guys, and so
Mhm.
honestly, this is a new Giants team with those guys back out there, and I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow, man. I mean, it's
I'm excited,
I
man.
mean, it's the biggest game. It's the biggest game that we've had in so long.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
really is. Like it's such a huge game, and I'm so excited for myself. I'm excited myself, but I'm also excited for all the other fans and
Yeah.
just those that haven't and the young fans too. How long have you been watching Giants football? Out of curiosity.
I've been alive for all 4 Super Bowls. Yeah, I'm an old man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been
No,
alive.
but no,
I did,
my first real memory was the Super Bowl 1990
yeah, mine
against
too.
the Bills. That's my
Yeah,
first because I was
mine
old
too.
enough to actually know what I was watching at the time.
Mine too.
So yeah, man, I've been a fan a long time, and like I said, I'm from New Jersey, and
Mhm.
what solidified it for me was in 4th grade. We had a school trip to the Giants Stadium, and we got a chance to go in the locker room, and I met Lawrence Taylor, I met Carl
Oh,
Banks, and that was it, man. I remember one of my best friends, he was a Buffalo Bills fan, and he just wore his Buffalo Bills starter jacket in the locker room, and they just got on him. Like grown men
yeah.
just getting on a 4th grader in the locker room, but
Man,
hey, he did it to himself, man.
I had a New York Giants starter jacket when I was a kid, and I cannot. I don't know where it is. Like I
Man,
cannot. I've looked for it for years to try to find it, and I cannot find it. but I love that thing so damn. Of course, I couldn't fit it now. But the
Yeah.
point is,
Yeah.
you say starter. I was saying, I always think about that. It's like, damn it,
Yeah, those
I
starter
love
jackets were
those things.
popular, man.
Oh man, back in the day, man, you had a starter jacket, you was it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm 80s baby, man. Early 80s, man.
Yeah, no, them starter jackets was the thing, man. Like they were I didn't realize like I mean, obviously during that time they were just jackets, but
Yeah, exactly.
now like they're just these awesome throwbacks. And so no, man, I'm the same way. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like a lot of I think that's another thing about those Twitter spaces is like there's a lot of young guys in there.
Mhm.
And I don't want to call anybody out in particular, but there's a lot of young guys, and I always think about the 90s Giants, you know, from the early 90s all the way to the late 90s, and there were some really frustrating years.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, man, y'all don't even know what the hell, like, some of us has been through as Giants fans. Like, y'all talking like this is bad. And of course, last year was to me rock bottom, but from a court, like, I remember
Yeah.
like Kent Graham and fucking Dave Brown and Danny Cannell. Like,
Let me tell you, Dave Brown was the first jersey I had. And I wanted a jersey so bad I went to a swap meet. I don't even think it was a real jersey, actually, when I'm thinking about it. It was a grown man size, so it was down to my knees. But I just wanted a Giants jersey so bad, so I settled for a Dave Brown jersey. I think it cost me like $20 at the time.
My
Yeah.
first jersey, my first Giants jersey was a Rodney Hampton jersey. That was my
Oh,
first.
wow.
That was
I
my
love
first.
Rodney
It
Hampton.
was a white Rodney Hampton jersey.
Oh, man.
And no, I think I had both a blue one and a white one.
Number
And I
27.
think I got the blue one first. So I might be that. And I had a very early white Michael Strahan jersey also, which was
Okay.
very 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 early on.
Yeah, man. We've been watching Giants for a long time, man.
Oh man, like oh yeah, we've been watching
Man,
we've been
ups
watching
and
Giants
downs,
like
roller
that's the thing,
coasters.
is, like I love hearing new guys give their perspective of the team. Like I
Yeah.
do love that. But did you see a list on Twitter the other day? There was a guy, a very young fan, he put like his top 10 favorite Giant games, and they all were like from 2019 on.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, my God, we got to change this list, my guy. Like, this is terrible. Like, because I always think about like the 2000 Giants.
Mhm.
I think about the 98 Giants. Chuck
Mhm.
Knox last night made me think about the 93 Giants.
Yeah, Chuck
And
Knox with his hype videos, man.
he's great, man, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's awesome, man. He's a true New York Giants fan, and he makes awesome content.
I just, I remember the heartbreak too. Like you talking about games. What was it, 2001 or 2002 when we lost in the playoffs to the 49ers on the man.
That was I mean, I think the final score of that game was 39-38, and we were
and
up.
that was, who was that fell on their back? It was like a legal throw. It was we
It
were
was
trying to
like,
kick a field goal, and
it was, Junkin or something.
it wasn't Richie. Was it Sherbert?
No, it wasn't him. I think it was, it wasn't, fuck, who
I mean,
somebody
it
in
doesn't matter.
somebody in
We
the chat,
remember the
I
play.
think it was Trey Junkin.
Okay.
I think it was someone in the chat will know, but, that game broke me. I mean,
I was at work when that game was going
that
on, and
I have never been so broken. I think the score was 38-14,
man.
and then Garcia and T.O. Brought the 40. I'll never forget it sticks with me today. I can't remember what the score was when it happened, but I'll never forget T.O. scoring a touchdown, and he was celebrating, and then Michael Strahan got in his face and pointed to the scoreboard, and as if to say, "Look at the score. You're sitting there celebrating. Look at the scoreboard. We're kicking your ass." And I'll never forget that. And I was and because I was such a Strahan guy too,
Yeah.
that I was almost like in that moment with him, like, "Yeah, you look
Yeah.
at the scoreboard." I was like, "Yeah, look at it." And
Yeah, man.
I just never forget that. And I'll never forget too, like and then they lost, and I just felt I was thinking about Strahan, and I was just like, man, I feel so terrible for him and some of
Yeah.
these other players. And when in 07 and 08, when he was winning, and again, I told you I had a Strahan jersey very early in my fanhood. And when they were able to win and he was able to be a part of that, I was so happy because I was bummed that Tiki didn't get to be a part of that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
'Cause I was
I got mixed emotions on Tiki for that
I
because
know everyone
he
does.
quit, he
I know.
retired 1 year too
I
soon.
know. But I really love Tiki. I just
Yeah,
Tiki
me
was
too.
one of my favorites. I mean, I always respected the fact that he had an issue of like fumbling and he corrected it.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget him being a special teamer and then being a running back. And,
Yeah.
you know, he could do it all. He could catch out of, and that was during a time period where like running backs really couldn't catch out of the backfield like they
Yeah,
can
people forget
now.
how good he was.
Oh man,
Tiki was good.
he was awesome, man. I was able to meet him at the NFL draft and when they were in Nashville a few years when we got Danny and I ran into him and I was just so thankful to being able to talk to him and just I told him I was like, man, thank you for everything I was like, I know everyone has their opinion about you, but thank you for everything you did for Big Blue. I appreciated it and it was really he was really cool. He was really nice, you know.
Is that where you're in Tennessee?
Yeah, Nashville. Yep.
Okay, okay.
So
How close you're not? Well, I know because I got family in Alabama. I was
mhm.
checking in on them today with all the tornadoes. They're up in
No, I didn't get affected. What
you
part of
ain't get
Alabama?
anything. It's called Panola County, but it's right about 20 minutes outside of Tuscaloosa.
Okay, yeah, man,
Yes.
I love the state of Alabama.
Yeah, yeah. So I used to spend my summers out there. My grandfather still has his farm down there and everything, man. So but yeah,
Alabama's Alabama's such a quiet,
it's
uh,
underrated, man. It's
it's
underrated.
very underrated. Everyone talks shit about places like Alabama and Mississippi and all that, and it's just quiet, and it's a good kind of quiet. Like of course, they love college football there. There's
Yeah, and I'm an
nothing
Alabama fan too, man.
they
The
love,
whole
man. It's Auburn, Alabama, but man,
oh man,
those states are so sneaky good because like if you some people like the hustle and bustle of the big cities and stuff like
yeah.
that, but man, you just want to chill, go to Alabama or Mississippi.
Underrated beaches too. People don't know that either.
Yeah, Muscle
Down there
Shores.
in the coast, the Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
It is what it is, but
absolutely. It's a little. I'm not gonna lie. There's some
it's
redneck
slow.
down there. There's
I know. I
when you
know.
get, it's funny. It's like when you get from it's so funny because like South Alabama
Oh yeah,
and North Florida is like redneck city, and then you go to like the bottom of Florida down in like Miami. It's like you're not even in America anymore.
yeah,
Like you're in a
yeah,
different country, you know. So
yeah,
it's always unique and funny. But anyways, Big Dash, I think I'm gonna wrap this thing up. It was good to talk to you, buddy. But
yeah, man.
hang,
Absolutely.
in
Thanks for having me, man.
there,
Thanks for having me. I
tough in
enjoyed it.
hang tough in those Twitter spaces.
Oh man, like I said, I let things roll. I'm too old to let certain things bother me. I talk a little bit of trash, but
Yeah.
it's still Twitter at the end of the day. And like I said, as long as my Giants are doing good, I'm doing good.
Absolutely, man. And I think I think if the Giants get it done, I think that Monday, I think I might do it Monday. I might do it during the Cowboys game. I'm gonna do a victory stream. So if I do,
I'm off work Monday, man.
well, if you're available, man, come hang out and
Absolutely,
celebrate with me. All right.
absolutely, man. You have a good one.
See you, Big Dash. Always good to talk to Big Dash, man. He's a great Giants fan and a solid content creator. Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I got to get some rest. Big day tomorrow. If you want to watch the game with Pizzle, I will be live tomorrow. Bet a grand on the Chris. Right, we're gonna have some money on the Giants tomorrow. If you're around YouTube and you want to watch the game with Pizzle, I will be live. If not, definitely catch my post game video for whatever the live reaction is on that. Hopefully good. Hopefully it's not bad. I hope you guys have liked the content this week. I've had a lot of fun. It's been good to have the playoffs again. Hope you guys have liked the discussions we've had this week. We've had some great guests and done a lot of fun things. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm anticipating. The best part about this is if we're able to get the win tomorrow, the hate week with Philly next week would just be bananas, right? I mean, so gear up for that. I mean, that would be electric and amazing and really exciting. So appreciate you guys as always, man, for coming onto the stream and supporting the channel and letting me be a part of the content that you consume. I really do appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm expecting if we're losing and I'm live streaming, some haters to come in there, and if they win, I'm expecting everybody just to disappear and we'll celebrate accordingly. But just thank you guys for all your support, watching the channel, taking the content in, and just giving this channel a chance to entertain you. So appreciate you guys. Go Big Blue. Get you some rest tonight. I know you'll be like me, where it'll be hard to go to sleep from the excitement, but get you some rest. And tomorrow we will do this thing, and we will do it. We will do it our way, as the Giants are saying. So go Big Blue, and you guys have a good rest of your night.